His body moved before his mind did, and the city would never forget that moment. "Stop!" someone screamed. The voice tore through the air like a rip in fabric. Jordan had just stepped off the stairs at Fulton Street Station, earbuds still in, when the world shifted. People around him turned their heads. Some froze. Some pulled out phones. No one moved. Then he saw her. A white girl, maybe 18, blonde ponytail, navy jacket bunched in her lap. She wasn't standing. She couldn't stand. Her wheelchair was tilted forward. One front wheel had dropped between the edge of the platform and the cold steel track below. Her hands clutched the armrests, knuckles pale, legs motionless. And the train was coming. The rails trembled faintly, carrying the sound long before the screech hit the station. Jordan's feet were already moving. He dropped his backpack without thinking, shoved past two men in suits, leapt over a bag someone had left by the stairwell. Someone shouted behind him, "Bro, don't!" But Jordan didn't stop. Not today. Not again. Last time his mother had collapsed in the kitchen, clutching her chest while folding laundry, he'd frozen. She almost died that day. He swore he would never freeze again. He reached the emergency ladder, rusted, paint peeling. The authorized personnel only sign hung loose, forgotten. Jordan took it 2 steps at a time. Halfway down, his boot slipped. Metal scraped skin, but he didn't feel it. The ground was wet, the track floor soaked in oil and gravel. The horn blared now, louder, meaner. He looked up. She was still there, still stuck, still silent, except her breath. Shallow, fast, panicked, eyes wide, mouth trembling. "Don't move," Jordan said, voice low but solid. He crouched, grabbed the metal frame of the chair, and pulled. Nothing. It didn't move. Again. Harder. The front wheel refused, jammed like it was locked into the concrete. The light in the tunnel grew hotter. Closer. He yelled up, "I need help. Someone. Now." A pause. Then footsteps. A woman in a navy business suit. No shoes. Barefoot. Hair flying. "You lift the back," she said, out of breath. "I've got her arms." They didn't count. They didn't breathe. They just moved. One wheel popped. Then the other. The chair twisted. The train was yards away. 3! Jordan dug his foot deep into gravel. Lifted. Screamed. Pulled. The wheelchair flew backward. He hit the wall of the platform trench, just as the train screamed past inches from his face. He didn't look up. Not yet. He just breathed. The girl was alive. And this time, he hadn't frozen. Wind slapped his face like a warning. The train was still howling past when Jordan finally looked up. The girl had been pulled onto the platform. Her wheelchair rested beside her. She was crying. Not loud, not dramatic, just trembling silently as the businesswoman knelt beside her, one hand over her shoulder, the other over her heart, like she was holding herself together. No one spoke. Then clapping. Then phones. A few gasps. Someone whispered, "That's the guy. That's the guy who jumped." Jordan didn't care. He reached for the platform edge, pulled himself up without help. His jacket was soaked. Gravel clung to his jeans. His palms bled lightly where rust had kissed the skin. Still, he stood like nothing had happened. He picked up his backpack, still lying where he dropped it, slipped his arm through the strap, like this was any other day. 8:01 a.m. The interview uptown was at 8:30. Not anymore. He didn't even feel the sting of that yet. All he felt was the leftover weight of her breath, her silence, and the heat of the train wind that had nearly erased them both. Jordan didn't take the train. He walked. North. Past breakfast carts unpacking warm pretzels. Past a man in a Yankees hoodie yelling about rent. Past a kid skateboarding through trash bags on the sidewalk. The Bronx felt louder now. He wasn't sure why. His jacket stuck to his skin. The cold from the tunnel was still in his bones. By the time he reached Madison Square Park, his legs ached. Not from exhaustion, from adrenaline withdrawal. His mind was quiet, too quiet, just static, looping back to the moment her eyes locked onto his before the chair gave way. He sat on a bench, finally checked his phone. 47 missed calls, 18 texts. One from Malika's best friend. Dude, are you okay? You're all over the damn internet. Turn on the news. Another from an unknown number. That video. Is that really you? His brows furrowed. He tapped the link. Shaky, vertical, recorded by someone from the edge of the platform. The moment he sprinted, dropped the bag, and disappeared off camera. The train horn, screams, then the wheelchair, flying upward, almost impossibly. Caught just before the train blurred past. No voiceover, no effects. Just real. Raw. Below it, the comments poured in. This man deserves a medal. Where was security? Give this man a scholarship. Black excellence in action. He moved when nobody else did. His name was trending. Not just hero, not random guy. Jordan Rivers. He blinked. How did they even know his name? He guessed the woman in the navy suit must have asked him after he left. Maybe someone overheard. Didn't matter now. The story had already outgrown him. Jordan didn't go home right away. His legs kept walking, like they didn't trust stopping. By noon, he found himself back in the Bronx, standing in front of his mother's apartment, hand resting on the old railing chipped from years of wear. The door was cracked open. She always did that when she knew he was coming. Inside, the scent hit him first, cinnamon and lemon. Her way of saying home without saying anything at all. She was in the kitchen, stirring a pot of beans, dish towel slung over one shoulder. Her eyes met his, narrowed instantly. Jordan Malik Rivers, she said, wiping her hands. Why are you limping? He didn't finish before she was already in front of him, checking his jeans, grabbing his hands. Blood! You're bleeding. Where's your jacket? Did you get jumped? No, Mom. I'm fine. He paused. There was a girl at the train. She fell. I helped her. That's all. She froze, blinked. The girl? He raised an eyebrow. You've seen it. Her face softened. Her hand cupped his cheek like he was 6 again. Baby, you're on every channel. He exhaled slowly. She sat him down, poured him a glass of sweet tea like it was medicine. Didn't press more. She didn't need to. Just stood leaning on the counter, watching him like only a mother could, full of pride, but afraid to show it too fast. I knew it'd be you, she said after a while. You've always moved first, even as a child. He smiled faintly. Didn't think. Just reacted. That's the best kind of courage, she whispered. He stayed for an hour, told her the interview had gone okay. Lied. She didn't need to know he'd missed it. Not yet. Not that the future he worked for, the scholarship, the fellowship, the only chance he had to get out from under crushing debt, might have just slipped through his hands. Later, as he left, the neighborhood kids were playing soccer with a half-flat ball. The same one as last summer. One kid stopped when he saw Jordan. "Hey!" the boy called. "You're that guy from the train, right?" Jordan smiled, barely. "Guess so." "You saved her," the boy said. "For real. You were fast." Jordan crouched to his level. "Fast enough, I guess." The kid grinned wide and ran back to the others, shouting, "That's him! That's the guy." Jordan stood up, watching them kick the ball between broken pavement and beat-up sneakers. Laughter echoed like Sunday bells. For the first time that day, he didn't feel like a hero. He just felt quiet. 3 days later, the knock came. Not at his apartment, not at his phone. An email. Subject line, "Follow-up meeting, Waters Foundation." No details, no signature, just a time, a midtown address, and one line, "Room 27B. You're expected." He had no idea who sent it, but something told him to show up. The building towered above Lexington like it didn't blink. Polished glass, clean steel, the kind of place where names mattered more than faces. Jordan showed up in the only suit he owned. Charcoal gray, slightly tight in the shoulders. Last worn for his mom's hospital board hearing. He checked his reflection once in the lobby window. Shoes clean. Palms still rough from the tracks, but not bleeding. Inside, the receptionist didn't even ask for ID. Just looked up, smiled softly, and handed him a badge. "Room 27B. They're waiting for you." Jordan blinked. "They?" Elevator ride was silent. He rehearsed what he'd say. If they asked why he jumped, what he risked, if he'd do it again. But when the doors opened, his mind went blank. The room wasn't what he expected. No cold boardroom, no harsh lights, just warm wood panels, soft chairs, and a table surrounded by people who all looked like they owned parts of the city. Doctors, executives, one woman in rimless glasses, mostly older, mostly white. And at the far end, a tall man stood, salt and pepper hair, black suit, sharp but calm. "Mr. Rivers," the man said. "Good to see you." Jordan paused. "I'm sorry. Do I know you?" The man smiled faintly. "Not directly. I'm Dr. Richard Waters, Emily's father." Jordan's heart kicked once. Emily, the girl in the wheelchair. "You're the one Who owes you more than I can say?" Waters finished gently. He nodded toward the others. "And they're here to listen." Jordan stepped forward, sat across from them all. First question came from the woman in glasses. "You missed your scheduled interview," she said. Jordan nodded. "Yes, ma'am, Something happened." "We're aware," another man said, half smiling. "So is the rest of the city." Jordan swallowed. "I didn't miss it because I didn't care. I was on my way, and I saw someone who needed help." Another voice, deeper. "Would you have done it if no one had been filming?" He met the man's eyes. "Yes. I didn't know anyone was." Silence. Then Waters cleared his throat. "My daughter's been in a wheelchair since she was 12, he said softly. "She doesn't trust strangers, doesn't let people touch her chair." He looked straight at Jordan. "She told me you didn't hesitate, but you didn't treat her like she was broken either." Jordan's throat tightened. He didn't know what to say. Waters turned back to the room. For years, we've chosen this fellowship based on grades, ambition, resumes. Today, I propose we choose something else: integrity. Nobody disagreed. The letter came the next morning. Not by mail, not by courier. Just an email with 5 words. Welcome to the Waters Fellowship. He stared at it for a long time. Didn't smile, didn't cry. He just let it sit. Later that week, he reported to the East Haven Recovery Center, a low-profile rehab facility tucked between 2 weathered brick buildings in the Bronx. Nothing fancy, just a wooden sign, a narrow ramp, and a scent inside that smelled like lemongrass and old soap. The kind of place that healed people slowly, with time. His name tag read, Jordan Rivers, Fellow, Physical Therapy, Track. First assignment? Room 5. Morning physical therapy session. He knocked once, stepped in, and froze. The girl by the window turned her head. Blonde ponytail, navy eyes, familiar wheelchair. Emily. "You're the new guy," she said, folding her arms. Jordan blinked. Apparently. "They told me I was getting someone gentle. You look more like someone who just escaped the subway." He smiled. "I've been told worse." She gestured to her knees. "They're still not listening." He wheeled a stool beside her. "Let's change their minds." For the next hour, the session unfolded. Slow stretches, gentle resistance, cautious reps. She pushed herself harder than anyone he'd seen. She didn't like being helped, but she let him, just enough. Midway through, she paused, arms resting on her lap. "I hated you for a while, you know." Jordan looked up. "What?" "After you saved me. I hated that I needed saving. That everyone saw me like that. Weak." He didn't speak. Just waited. "I watched the video," she continued, "over and over. All I could see was how fast you moved. You didn't even think." "I didn't," he said. "I know," she whispered. "That's what made me cry." Jordan lowered his gaze. "You shouldn't feel ashamed for needing help." "You don't get it," she said. "When you've lived in a chair long enough, you start believing the world's just waiting for you to break." He met her eyes. But that's not all they see anymore. Emily didn't answer right away. Then, softly, "Thanks to you." After therapy, they grabbed coffee from a cart outside. The air had shifted, colder now, autumn teasing its way into the cracks. "My dad used to say," she began, sipping her drink, "a single act doesn't define you, but it reveals you." Jordan smirked. Wise man. "He's terrified I'm falling for the guy who saved me." Jordan nearly choked. "What?" She laughed. "Relax, Romeo. I said he's terrified. I didn't say I am." He grinned, half embarrassed. "Okay, then what are you?" She tilted her head. "Curious." The light changed. They crossed the street. Neither one said it, but the air between them felt different. The invitation came by phone. Not from the center. Not from her father. A woman's voice. Calm. Practiced. "Mr. Rivers, this is Rachel Linwood. I'm with the New York State Community Honors Board. You were nominated for a public service tribute." Jordan blinked. I didn't ask to be." "That's why you're perfect," she interrupted gently. The event was set for Friday. State courthouse, business formal. He said yes before his nerves could say no. When the day arrived, he wore the same suit again. Pressed. Clean. Still tight. But this time, the weight felt different. Inside the marble hall, people moved in elegant circles. Judges, politicians, press, the kind of room where eyes scanned name tags before faces. Emily was already seated near the front. Dark blazer, bold lipstick, unapologetic. She smiled when she saw him. That kind of smile that settles nerves. He sat quietly. His name was third on the program. No music, no applause track. Just a mic and a room waiting to see who the headline hero really was. He stepped up slowly, fingers brushing the podium edge. "Most people don't wake up expecting to make the news," he began. A few chuckles. Software. "I didn't. I was just trying to get to an interview. Hands still shaking from an overnight shift. No breakfast. Just another morning." He paused. "And then I saw someone fall." He looked out. Faces everywhere. Some nodding, some still. "I didn't know her name. I didn't know what her life looked like. I just knew she couldn't get up alone." A beat passed. People think bravery is big, loud, but sometimes it's just movement, a step forward when no one else does. He let it hang. "I'm grateful this story spread, not because I needed it to, but because maybe it reminded people. Being a bystander is a choice, and so is being human." Silence, then applause. Not polite, full. From the belly. Earned. He sat back down, pulse racing. Not from fear, from release. Emily leaned over, whispering, "Not bad for someone who didn't prep." He chuckled. "Did I beat the firefighter with the puppy?" He had a golden retriever and a baby in the truck. Brutal. After the event, Jordan wandered the hall alone. At the far corner, a small gallery of photos lined the walls. Community awards, marches, fundraisers. In the corner, a new frame. A photo of him kneeling beside Emily on the subway platform. His hands gripping the wheel. Her eyes locked on his. Underneath, a small plaque read, "Compassion in Motion. Jordan Rivers. Aisonis ipsum non." He stood still. Didn't pose, didn't smile. Just breathed. 3 months later, the banner finally went up. The Rivers Waters Rehabilitation Center. Bold navy letters. Hung above the same iron gate where trash cans used to line up on Tuesdays. The building still smelled like paint. The windows were streaked with fingerprints from volunteers, but the foundation was solid. Jordan stood in front of the doors holding the key in his palm, the same key that had once opened nothing. Beside him, Emily adjusted the sleeves of her burgundy coat. "You ready?" she asked. He looked up at the lettering. "No," he said honestly, "and that's how I know I am." The metal door creaked open. Light spilled across the floors, scratched linoleum, mismatched tiles, scuffed walls. But it was theirs. Volunteers had come from everywhere. Retired nurses, medical students, former patients. Even Silas, the old man from the subway, now ran storytelling circles for veterans twice a week. Emily handled design. Every hallway had wide access, clear signage, soft colors. She'd even insisted on a rooftop therapy garden. For people who need quiet more than words. One afternoon, as Jordan swept near the entrance, Miss Delaney from East Haven showed up with a small wooden box. "You're not good at resting," she said. "I was resting," he replied, "just holding a broom." She handed him the box. Inside, a bronze plaque, dedicated to those who moved when others stood still. He shook his head. I can't accept this. Yes, she said softly. You can. They mounted it under the front desk window, the first thing every patient would see. Opening day came under a sky that smelled like hope, clear and chilled, with sunlight that made the bricks glow warm. Dr. Waters kept his speech short, just a quiet nod to the moment. Silas read a poem, something raw about second chances and train whistles. Even Judge Sloan showed up. He didn't say much, just one line Jordan would never forget. This building isn't made of bricks. It's built from breath. When it was Jordan's turn, he didn't use a script, just the truth. I used to think I had to do something big to matter, he said, but I've learned what changes people isn't size, it's presence. It's choosing to step forward instead of standing still. The crowd didn't cheer. They stood. After, as folding chairs were stacked and leftover coffee was packed away, Jordan found himself alone in the therapy room. Emily walked in. You didn't cry during your speech. I'm saving it for the first broken sink. She laughed. Then, quietly, do you ever think, if none of it happened, if I hadn't fallen, where we'd be? He nodded, still trying to prove something. And now? Now I don't care if the world sees it, as long as the right people feel it. She smiled, reached into her pocket, handed him something small, his old Metro card, bent, scratched. I kept it, she said, just in case you ever needed a reminder. He turned it over slowly. Guess I've still got one more ride left.